Welcome to Watches and Tea. I am Otmar. We have a watch and we have some tea. So this is a Yema branded watch that I got from a Dutch forum. It is probably from the 60s and it is running late. So it gains about an hour, maybe more, a day. So this watch needs a service, which I'll be trying to attempt. I already promised to myself that I will upload this video no matter what. So if I fail, this is going to be a fail video. If I succeed, this is going to be a succeed video. And you are along for the ride with me in my journey to discovering a lot of stuff about watches and having some fun. And tea. So here you can see the watch already out of its case, and I'm noting what all the parts are. You might see some purple tiny things in there. Those are the jewels that need cleaning. And to do this service, we need to take apart the entire watch, clean everything, and then oil the parts that need lubrication. So let's unscrew the crown stem. This tiny little screw holds together the crown and the crown stem. So we are gonna remove it. And if you are wondering, why is the quality so bad? Can you zoom in a little bit more? Yes, I should and I could have, but I didn't. And this is gonna haunt us. You see the reflection here. It's sort of difficult to see what is going on, and this is one of my first mistakes. There's going to be a lot of mistakes in this video, so be prepared. So here we have the movement out of his case, and there's my head, and I discovered in the making of this video that I actually have less hair at the top of my head than I thought I had. Let's get rid of the dial hands using these dial hand levers. Yeah, there they go. They pop right off. I'm using plastic here to protect the dial, but it's already seen some scratches and some wear to it. Not a lot. It's in pretty good condition, but still. The second hand I have a little bit more trouble with. It's very close to the case and my dial hands have trouble gripping it, as you can see here. And it just won't come off. So I'm using a tiny screwdriver here. I figured, yeah, why not? It's already a bit scratched up, and I'll just be very careful. And there it goes. So now that's out of the way. We have some issues here. Let me explain. I don't have every tool that I need to complete this build. So I'm using a piece of paper because I don't have finger cuts or gloves. Using a piece of paper to hold the movement and get the case screws out. So here you see me fiddling around with a piece of paper trying to get these tiny screws out in a normal manner without touching the dial, which is not a good thing. So let's take out the keyless works. The keyless works are the part that sets the dial and sets the date. This watch has a date, and you can see me struggling here with the screws. They're very tiny, and I'm not using the screwdrivers correctly here. You see I'm trying to screw them out with a steep angle. So yeah, learn from me as I learn as well. So let me speed up things here. So I'm removing the keyless works in the knowledge that I'm recording everything, and yes, this is gonna haunt us because look at the quality. I haven't checked my camera yet, that it's not the best place. And here I'm removing the train of wheels, which I've done before in another watch, so this is a little bit more easy for me. Those are the train wheels there, which are gone. And now I'm removing the drum and removing the balance, finally, which I should have done in the first place. And this is the pallet fork that is gone. So now the movement is completely stripped. And this can only mean one thing. Time for tea. And celebrate that we've taken apart everything. And we haven't broken anything yet. So now let's clean everything of this movement. We're gonna do it bit by bit, so we know where all the screws are. And I'm doing the movement, I think, the movement holder. I'm not sure how to call this part, but the big part where everything's on. And just leave it in for a couple of minutes. And now let's remove our first jewel. These jewels need to be removed and oiled. They're very tiny. This one is sort of the easiest one because it has a plate. And we can turn it around and drop a tiny, tiny little drop of oil on it. But we do need to clean it first. So I'm dropping it in our lighter fluid here for a couple of minutes. And shaking it a little bit. And there it is. Should be nice and clean now. Maybe a little bit left. This video is actually quite a bit further in the video. I've lost some footage due to batteries being flat and storages being full. So I'm drying it off here. And now very carefully I'm putting in a tiny, tiny amount of oil. Trying to look at what I'm doing, which is hard, and you need to get up really close. Almost there. Yeah, it's on there. Now let's put it back into the movement, which should be relatively easy. Yes, it's on there. And now we move over to the main part of the attraction. This is the anti-shock jewel. You see there's some metal bars in there, and underneath there is this nice ruby jewel thing that we need to get out and get some oil on as well. Well, I've seen a lot of videos on YouTube, and I've seen some shock protection thingies, but I've never seen this one. This one has like the straight metal bars around it, and the ones I've seen are the Inca block type, I think they're called, and they are different. And I'm dreading this part so much. Ah, there, the screw pops out. Remember that I said that I opened the watch before? Well, this is where it went wrong. I lost the spring part, and I don't know if I touch the spring part, if it will drop out immediately, or if this spring sort of stays in place as the other shock protection does. So I'm dreading this so much, and this is where it gets really exciting for me. So I get 2 screws and I try to hold the other part down. Ooh, yeah, there's one leg. And it seems that it stays in place, which is good. And the other leg goes here as well, and you can now see it open. Ooh, and the jewel popped out. The whole assembly popped out. So there you can see the bottom cap where the hole is in and where the pivot is going to be. and there's the top part of the jewel. So these two parts in their lock with each other, and now I'm shining a light to see, oh, can you see the top part there? It has a little dot in the middle and a ring around it. That's dried up oil. So we need to get rid of that. And I'm using a toothpick here, and oh, yep, it floops away. And here we have it cleaned up a bit. Now you can see there's no more reflection. The reflection in the middle is actually my flashlight, because my microscope is not that good. It's like a $20 microscope or 20 euros. And here we just have the top part, and I'm trying to put tiny drop of oil in the middle, and it totally fails. It keeps sticking to my oiler and I cannot get it off. It just stays on there. In another YouTube video, this part goes so easily and so well, and yeah. So I cleaned it up again. So here it is out of the lighter fluid, and I need to turn it over, which is actually pretty hard to do. These things are tiny. And here goes attempt number 2. There is some oil on there. Let's put a little bit more, and it sticks, and it flies away. So I find it because it's on my desk, and I try again. Oh, and it flips away again. So yeah, I'm gonna show you another sort of half attempt, but after this one I tried to do it off camera, because yeah, this just isn't working under the microscope. And during my try, it flies away again. And this time it flies far into the room, onto the floor somewhere, and I just can't find it. So I'm pretty bummed out by this, but I decide to soldier on. The watch is not gonna work properly without this part, but it is sort of gonna turn, I think. So I'll just move on, learn from this and continue on going. Rest in peace, little jewel. So I replace the jewel back into its slot, or at least the bottom part, turn the movement over, and start cleaning the train of wheels. And the next part I'm gonna skip ahead a bit, because this took so long. So what happened here was, there's these 4 wheels, right? And basically it's just the last 3 wheels that you see here, the golden ones. These golden ones, I don't remember which order they go in. And because I cleaned them, I didn't put them in order back again. I couldn't. And I don't know which is the top part, which is the bottom part. I just have no idea. And it took me literally more than an hour to get this right, because when they're not incorrectly, the top bridge, so the metal part that goes over it, just doesn't fit. And this was taking so long, but I finally figured it out just by following the gears in the wheels and seeing how everything should work. And yeah, this just took me way too long, but yeah, eventually I got there. And here you can see me putting in the plate above the mainspring barrel. I haven't shown the mainspring barrel, and I haven't serviced the mainspring barrel. So people who know what it is, yes, I didn't open that part. The mainspring barrel holds a spring, and the spring is basically the power that gets to the watch. And I just didn't want to complicate things any further by opening it. I know that it was working. I know that it was working for more than a day. So I was quite happy with leaving it in. And I also didn't remove the click, the top part here, that is supposed to click on the gear that we're just gonna put in right now. And as we try to put it in, the click, that is the part that I'm touching right there, it's gonna be in the way, so we need to pull it out of the way to put this gear in. And reassembling this would have been easier with the click out of the way. But yeah, like I said, I didn't want to complicate it any further. This is my first service, so yeah, cut me some slack. This is a fiddly job, so yeah, there's the click out of the way. Try and see if I can get this installed correctly. Yeah, this looks okay. And here's the screw. And there it goes. It's in. Now this is also winding the spring now, so now the whole part is under tension, and now you can see the balance fork, it's flopping over nicely. And that is a win. We haven't broken it. Okay, we lost a part, but yeah, we haven't broken anything, so that's good, right? And now we can put in the balance. This is the spring that sort of moves around and regulates the movement. It is an extremely fiddly job to put in. And I'm gonna spare you again, because this again took me so long. The problem with this movement is, see the two pins? So you have this big hole in the middle on the right of the balance. That's where the screw goes in, and you have these two posts beside it. And what happens is that whole plate basically immediately slots into those pins, and then it's just stuck, and you cannot do micro adjustments and move it again. I'm trying to put some air in, this should be moving freely, it's not. And this again takes me a long time. But then something happens. So I go away and make some tea for myself, thinking about what to do. I think I reset the jewel under the balance wheel incorrectly, and that it's facing the wrong way, and that's why it's not going in. But then I remember, hey, I just bought like 7 or 8 watches, which are sort of junk watches. They're not really nice. They have scratched crystals and everything, but they have jewels in them. Why not open one of them, get a jewel out of it, and put them in here? Maybe it will work. Here you can see the aftermath of me doing all of this on camera. There's this date dial just lying around. There's like 3 watches open at this point. Because remember that the anti-shock protection that was in this watch was different to me. Let's go back to the original shot. See, notice here it says anti-shock at the bottom. Well, this is a different shock protection than most watches. Most of them have Inca block shock protection in them or other stuff, but the anti-shock, or you could pronounce it in a different way, which instantly gets me banned from YouTube, I guess. It's different. And the first watch that I opened didn't have that shock protection in it, and the jewels didn't fit. But the second one had the same shock protection, and that jewel fit. So here you can see me putting in the balance again. And yes, this takes me some time again. And I take it out and put it back in again, fiddle around, look at it for some time, and then this happens. It is working. It is actually working. Hallelujah. So I spent like the next couple of minutes just looking at this. Like smiling in disbelief, like, oh my god, it is working again. I lost something, I put it back in. I don't know how I got the same watch with the same shock protection in it, but it is working. And it's only after a while that I notice, like, hey, I'm basically just where I started when I got into this watch. So as you see, the movement is kicking up a bit here. But yeah, I haven't actually oiled any jewels yet. So I'm back where I was a couple of hours ago. So now I need to oil these jewels again, which have already flown away. And I decided to try it in a different manner and put it on some Rotico, and then, which is a sort of silly putty you see right here, and try and oil the jewel on there and then put it back in, which is super fiddly. And of course, this takes me a couple of attempts to get right. And now I need to put those two jewels together. I got a nice drop of oil on there, and these need to be put on top of each other. Then they will stick because of the capillary action of the oil. And again, this part is also really fiddly and took me a long time to get right. And it's sort of on there. No, it's not. It isn't. Is it on there? Maybe. But after a couple of times, and me dropping loads of jewels, I seem to get it in there and close it up. And if we put the movement back, I still need to put in one wheel here, which I'm oiling right now. And there it goes. I put it in the wrong way around, I think. Not actually sure. And then it's time for the screw. Now this is the whole screw in the assembly that turns the other way around. So as you can, yeah, this happens a lot. So I'm trying to screw it in and then it just bolts away. Then I need to reseat it. And there we go. So as I said, this screw screws in the other way. So you'll see me screwing it in sort of the lefty-loosey direction. But it's actually what ties it down, because this wheel turns the other way and it sees a lot of action because this is the wheel that is directly connected to the crown wheel. And if it would tighten the other way around, the normal way, it would loosen actually when using the watch. So that's why they put it in the other way around. It's sort of normal for watches to do that on that wheel. And here we have the crown stem that needs some grease as well. This is actually grease and not oil that goes on here, because this part interacts with metal. So it's metal on metal, so it needs grease. And this is what you'll be winding, so it needs grease. And I probably put way too much on there. But like I said, I'm a beginner. And there it goes in. And now we can move on to the keyless works on the other side. Next up are these gears. They need some grease as well, because they're metal on metal. And I will spare you sort of the rest of this and I will tell you what is going on. So now the keyless work needs to be put on. And I didn't put that on video because my camera went out of memory after this. So I'll just tell you that, remember that I said that it's gonna bite us in the ass, that the quality of the removal of the video of the keyless works wasn't good. Well, this is the part where I struggle for an hour again to put in the keyless works. The problem is that there's a date here, so it complicates things a bit. I've never put back together a keyless works before, and there's loads of springs. Well, loads. There's 2 springs in here, and these springs are tiny, tiny, tiny. And I've seen other YouTubers put this part together, and they're very afraid of the springs that are in these type of mechanisms because they're small, and if they fly away, which they absolutely want, they are never to be found again. So I'm very scared to put this back together, and I don't know how. And when I look back at the videos, I was like, ooh, this doesn't help at all. So this took me an hour or more to get back together, and I don't have it on video. So let's skip ahead to where I found out that my camera wasn't working. And here you can see the keyless works and the calendar totally in. And I'm just getting the top plate in, which again is very fiddly. There's very tiny screws on there. But yeah, everything after this is sort of easier after all that I've gone through with this watch. So let's skip ahead to the installment of the hour hand. I've already turned the date of this watch to where it just skips. So it should be midnight right now, which is very important on a date, a watch with a date. So it should be midnight, the date has just gone over. And now I'm putting down the hour wheel. Again, I'm not using the right tool for this. I'm using my metal tweezers here, and I shouldn't. I should be using plastic, wood, or anything that doesn't scratch. But as you can see, the dials are already a bit scratched. And as I said before, the tools are in the mail. So I'm just cleaning them up a little bit with water. Just a tiny amount of water. And then we need to put on the minute hand. It needs to be at 12 o'clock. This has already taken me some time, so I'm putting it at 12:02. Because I'm probably a couple of minutes already into 12. And then the seconds hand, which goes into its own little dial at the bottom. Touching up the minute hand here with some water as well. Making sure that it's attached. And then slowly but surely putting the second hand in. And it's running. There we go. Some air to see if the second hands will fall off. Well, I cannot blow it off and it's turning, so it must be on correctly. We are done with the dial. Now we need to put the watch back into its case. So I'm removing the crown stem here, so we can put it back in later. And here I'm skipping ahead a bit. So now it's in the case again. I've already cleaned the case. Yes, it looks a bit battered, but it's old. And here it is running. Put the cap back on, the straps back on, and here we go. The moment of truth. Did we make this watch run better, or does it run worse? Well, it's been 2 days now, and this watch has been running really well. I think it's about a minute off in 2 days, something like that. So I'm very happy. I'm very happy with what I've accomplished, with what I've done. I haven't broken anything. I just lost some part, but I found it back. So I'm very happy that this watch can be worn again. I can wear it to work, wear it every day, and it will tell me the time in a perfect manner. It's actually a very comfortable watch to wear, and I'm very happy with it. And I learned so much in servicing this watch. And yeah, I'm sort of hooked. Now I want to do more. I want to do more watches. So yeah, see you next week. I already have a project ready. So thank you for watching and see you soon.